Learning Objective 8, determine the amount of the end of the year adjustments for workers' compensation insurance and accrued salaries and wages and record the adjustments. So I'm at the bottom of page 340. At the end of the year, the accountant calculated the exact premium as follows. Okay, and you can see that at the bottom of page 340. Therefore, the amount of the unpaid premium is $73.19. Now the accountant makes an adjusting entry similar to the adjusting entry for expired insurance. This entry appears on the worksheet. The accountant also makes an additional adjusting entry for the extra premium owed. By T accounts, the entries are as follows, and you can see them in the book there on page 341. So adjusting for accrued wages and salaries. Now let's assume that Green Sales Company had $2,400 of wages accrue for the time between the last payday and the end of the year. An adjusting entry is necessary. You can see that right here. For the accrual adjustment, gross salary and wages are recorded, not the net salary and wages. When the accrued salary and wages are paid, the amounts withheld for federal and state taxes, FICA taxes, and other deductions are recorded. Adjusting for entry for accrual of payroll taxes. As you've seen, the following taxes come under the umbrella of the payroll tax expense account: the employer's share of the FICA taxes, the state unemployment tax, and the federal unemployment tax. The employer becomes liable for these taxes only when the employees are actually paid, rather than at the time the liability to the employee is incurred. So there is no adjusting entry for payroll tax expense until the wages are actually paid. Tax calendar. Now let's put it all together. To keep up with the task of paying and reporting the various taxes, the accountant compiles a chronological list of the due dates. We are including only the payroll taxes here, but any kind of taxes, such as sales taxes and property taxes, should also be listed. When you think about the penalties for missing tax deposit or filing due dates, this chronological list seems to be well worth the effort. We assume for this purpose that the employer is a monthly depositor of the federal tax deposit. So then you can see it's broken up by dates on when all these forms need to be completed and submitted throughout the whole year. And this is on page 342 in your book. So payroll fraud. Payroll fraud can be a huge problem for a business in terms of monies lost and time and frustration dealing with the problem. Payroll fraud can be categorized into three general areas. Ghost employee fraud. Someone is recorded in the payroll system who does not work for the business. False wage claim fraud. Extra hours or other relevant factors are added to wage information to increase the amount of pay. And false expense reimbursement fraud. Improper claims are made for the reimbursement of business expenses. Internal controls should be in place to prevent and detect payroll fraud. Some of those controls include the following: require mandatory vacations for those with payroll responsibilities, having other employees perform this function in their absence. Use cash payments or checks minimally and increase the use of direct deposit of payroll checks. Have employees physically sign and show proper identification to receive their paychecks. Conduct periodic unannounced audits to ensure that all employees in the payroll actually work for the company. Cross-reference the payroll roster for duplicate addresses or social security numbers. Conduct a thorough pre-employment reference check for all payroll personnel. Compare payroll expense per the payroll register to the actual amounts paid. Also compare amounts to payroll deposits made. Outsource payroll administration. And then you can see practice exercise 8 is here, but it is also in your book. So please use the working papers to go ahead and complete that, and then you can check your work here or with the solution in the book.